I have an 11-year-old daughter, and she has these violent episodes. They can last for hours, and she's growing up. She's getting bigger, and I don't know how to keep my family safe at this point, including her. And I don't know what to do next. I don't know. I don't know when it's too much.
Give me a picture of what a regular violent outburst looks like.
Yeah, so pretty much anything or nothing can set something like this off.
Okay.
And like last night, we were just hanging out, and I was getting some tea for her, and one of my little boys said something that upset her, and she struck me in the back of the head a few times as I was sitting at the kitchen table. And at this point, I'm the only one who's big enough to kind of keep everybody safe, but I also have a big problem with restraining her, touching her in any kind of physical way in these situations.
How come?
I mean, she's my little girl, and I never I've never hurt her, never spanked her, never laid a hand on her. But she's really aggressive, and she's hit everybody in our family. She's punched my wife in the face. She's tried to punch me. And I want to keep her safe. I want to keep everybody safe, but it's too much for us now.
Yeah.
And I don't know where to go from here.
So this is tough for me in this situation because I'm not with her, and you and I would need to do like a pretty long history, a timeline, an escalation timeline, all that to learn more about this. But I'm going to throw a few things out there, okay, just to give you some general direction. All right.
Yeah.
I've talked about this in recent shows. I always want to start from a place, and I may not stay here very long, but I always want to start from a place of what if my kid's body, whether they're anxious, whether they're having outbursts, whether they're highly charged and emotional, whether they're depressed or they have depression symptoms, what if their body is working perfectly? What is their body trying to protect them from? That's always where I want to start, okay?
Yeah.
Number two, you can't hit. There's a line that gets crossed. And often, who knows the diagnostic stuff here, right? So she needs to get an evaluation. We'll talk through that in a second. But I like the second tier where my colleague, Dr. Becky Kennedy, starts, which is often emotional outbursts are really a lack of skills.
Mm-hmm.
It's no kid wants to be hitting their family members.
Yeah.
But these emotions get so hypercharged and there's not a skill set to deal with them.
Yeah.
And they just explode out. And so there's something about sitting with kids and teaching them skills. But the next part of that is, and again, anytime I ask parents this, I always want to preface it. This is hard on the phone. Okay, it's different in person. But my bigger question would be, tell me about the environment of your home. Is your marriage good? Do y'all squash your feelings in your house? Do you let the kids just run amok? I mean, this sounds like this has been going on, and you don't want to cut her off or take her on. And now you just got a kid who feels like she's out of control. And really the greatest thing she could get was some really firm boundaries from dad, from mom. But tell me about the environment in the home.
That's the thing is, it's good.
Okay.
We have a really special thing going. She's got two little brothers who are, they're little brothers and they're annoying sometimes, but they're good boys. My marriage with my wife is good. She's a very special woman. My daughter's a very special girl. Outside the home, she's good. She's well liked. She's well loved. This stuff doesn't happen in other contexts.
Okay.
And there have been a couple times where I've really been able to kind of like walk with her through one of these episodes, like 2 times out of 1,000, where we can talk about like where do you feel it, and like just breathe and really, really take that long breath. And I've been able to get through it with her sometimes, a couple times. But usually there's no getting through there. It's like, I guess anything's possible, but I'm 99.9% certain she's never suffered any kind of abuse.
Okay. Well, let's don't go even that serious. I mean, that's definitely a question I want to ask. Is she safe in school? Is she getting bullied a lot in school or whatever? How big's the gap between her and her brothers?
Her brothers are 8 and 6.
How old is she?
She's 11.
Okay. So that really wouldn't fit with where I was going. Where I was going with is, if she was 5 or she was 6 and she had all of you guys, you and your wife to herself, and then these 2 knuckleheaded boys came along, is she still wrestling with her place in the house?
I think there's probably some of that.
Okay.
But, it's not easy being a kid. It's not easy being the oldest. But we really try to make each one of them feel special and loved.
But one of the most ways you can give an older kid that sense of purpose and that sense of feeling loved is giving them a job. One of the most important things I learned in grad school was telling the oldest kid, hey, this is your brother.
Yeah.
And when this is your brother, you have responsibilities because your brother needs you. And kids are so desperate for autonomy and for a purpose, for a job, that getting that is so powerful. And of course, they get annoyed with it and they get resentful and blah, 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 but they're kids, right? I guess the biggest question mark over my head is this is very context specific.
Yeah.
Because she's not out of control at school. She's not out of control at church. She's not out of control on sports teams. She just comes home and kind of loses it.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you taken her to see a psychologist?
We're waiting on like a psych eval. She's been in therapy before.
Okay.
For a couple of years. But we're on like a 6-month waiting list to get an intake for like a real assessment.
Okay. What does her therapist say? I don't like that she's been in therapy for 2 years and this thing is escalating and escalating and escalating and there's not a joint conversation happening. Like, what's the therapist saying?
She doesn't have a lot to say. We've sat down with her several times and asked like, where's like, what's going on? And her response is kind of like, some kids are like this. Some kids have a lot of anxiety. She's worked on skills. She's described what they're working on in terms of like self-soothing and stuff.
Hold on.
Yeah.
How old is this girl?
11.
Has she brought you and your wife in to work on these skills together and run scenarios together?
Not all of us together, no.
Okay, there's something about the matrix there. There's some kind of alchemy there that makes her body feel unsafe and out of control. And I guess what I would tell you is after 2 years of just sitting here and talking about it, if that's not improving, and in fact it's the trend line is the other way, then I want to advocate on my daughter's behalf in a really direct way. Meaning, it's not good enough. That just makes my skin crawl. That some kids are just like this, dude. What a defeated, hopeless sense, right?
Yeah.
Kids are kids, and they are put into multiple different environments and contexts where they have got multiple different demands and all. Like you said, it's hard, man. It's hard being a kid, especially a kid that feels like I don't have the skills to enter into this situation. But also, no kid wants to hit their dad a whole bunch of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you need to hear from me. You have not only every right, it's a gift to her to protect her from getting that far out of control.
Yeah. And I try to like de-escalate that before it gets to that point, but it's just like the switch. And
what happens after she hit you a few times? What did you do?
I said, "Hey, you need to take a break. Like, that's not okay." But she won't take a break at that point. Like, she won't leave the situation, do something different.
I know, but she's 11. She needs an adult sometimes to pick her up and take her out of the situation.
Yeah, and I guess that's like what I've been doing. I take her to her room and sit with her, or have to restrain her.
Mm-hmm.
And like, she'll continue to try to physically attack me for hours. And I don't know what to do with that part of it.
Yeah, this is way over my skis, man. You're gonna have to find a different therapist in your town because the one you have is useless.
Yeah.
I get that powerlessness feeling that you have. I can't solve this one over the phone.
Okay.
I'm wondering if she's got some severe psychiatric challenges.
Yeah.
Because I do know it's not uncommon for kids to hit somebody, to strike somebody, and then when a parent picks them up and takes them away and sits with them in their room for the next hour, the kid's nervous system got exactly what it needed, which was a regulated adult. Now I feel safe.
Yeah.
But it's not, quote unquote, some kids are just like that. Some kids, it's not normal to hit a parent or hit a younger sibling multiple times, get forcibly carried out of a room and say, you cannot hit. And they continue to try to fight you for hours. That's not normal.
Yeah.
Okay. So the context dependency is really important as well. So there's something going on there. And sitting down with a psychologist or a different therapist and saying, my kid is an angel over here, kid's an angel over here, and my kid is violent and unsafe, and a switch flips, and there's something about our home that's setting her off. And we've got to get this under control because my house is not safe.
Yeah.
And you're confident that she has a good, safe relationship with your wife?
Yeah. Beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Okay. And you're confident that she has a good, safe relationship with her brothers?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, something is not lining up for me, and I can't do this one over the phone. I couldn't do this one in person. I'm not trained beyond this, other than to let you know there's something pretty severe, and you're not crazy, and what your family needs. Because here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to lose your sons in the process either, and I don't want you to lose your marriage in the process either. And can I just say this? You answered all my hard questions.
Yeah.
I'm almost confident that you go to bed every night looking in the mirror with tired eyes and bags under your eyes thinking, I'm failing as a dad, and I want you to let you know this isn't normal, and you're doing the best you can, and I'm proud of you, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Every dad wants to just have a little girl that's just awesome and safe and funny and snuggly and all those and powerful and loud and tough and all those things, and this is scary, okay?
Yeah.
And even if you can, every once in a while, look in the mirror and put your fist in your chest and just say, I'm doing the best I can.
Thank you.
Okay?
I will. Yeah.
All right, man. Dude, thanks for the call, brother. That one's tough. Yeah, get on the phone today and make some more calls. And I hate that for your psyche, Val. That's just the state of mental health care in our country right now, that you may, I guess school might be out, but you may be able to fast track one through the school system and get a psyche eval that way. It just depends on where you live, and oh man, what a mess that is. But I hate that for you. But yeah, transfer over, and you may go check out her primary care physician and see if there's some additional help there. They often just want to throw tranks at it or something, and so it just depends. There's so many variables here, but I guess the best I can tell you is, man, she's lucky to have you as a dad, trying to love her the best you can in a really messy situation.